This light is...
We're on air. There you go. Hi, my name's Coryon Redd. I am the founder and CEO of batteriesforless.com. And
my name's Mindy Brown. I'm the customer service manager.
And this is Battery Buzz Live. This session of Battery Buzz Live, we're going to be talking a little bit about Batteries for Less and our history, the good, bad, and the ugly of it. And I guess I'll start with the basics. I was living in Los Angeles in 1998, 1999, and I saw that there were a lot more cell phones. People were using them a lot more, and it was just growing. So it wasn't tough to see that trend was really growing, and there was a place to provide a service there. And what really came to my attention was when I went to a Radio Shack store to get a replacement battery for one of my first cell phones, and the selection was terrible and the prices were really high. And I just thought, I just want to get a battery for less. And that eventually became batteriesforless.com, because at that point people were getting more and more comfortable with actually going online to shop and being willing to put their credit card into a computer someplace, into a website, and not having the number get stolen and sent to Russia right away by the mafia. So we started in 1999 and had the goal of providing a wide selection of cell phone batteries and accessories. Originally, we started with a few suppliers that were in Los Angeles. At that point in 99, there were actually companies that were assembling batteries with cells that were being shipped over from Japan right there in Los Angeles. And we quickly grew. We found out that a key to our success was getting found. So we were a pioneer in search engine optimization and getting to the top of Google, because we've always been really relevant for a place to find a cell phone battery. And things have really been interesting since then. I want to be able to share a couple of those stories with you. I guess the first place that comes to mind is our first employee ever. I'm not sure if I've ever told you about Sophia, but living in West Hollywood, we started Batteries for Less out of our house. So my partner, Andrea Hope, and the mother of my children, and I started with almost all of our product in a battery closet. So off of our living room was a closet, and we found out that one of the cool things with cell phone batteries was that they're small, so that you can get a lot stored, organized into a small space. But with Sophia, she was a Russian woman that we hired who could barely speak English, and main thing was that her hourly was in our price range. And there were times where she would disappear into the front of the house to do our shipping, and it would be quiet for a while, and I would kind of peek around the corner, and she would literally be wrapped up in packing tape. So she would be sitting there just trying to figure out how to get her hands untaped together. And we ship most of our product in envelopes. I don't even know why I don't even know necessarily why she had the packing tape out in the first place. She was also a short woman, and that comes into play because her job was to go into the battery closet, which we had stacked from floor to ceiling with boxes and storage containers, and she would need to get something off of a top shelf and stand in the closet with her hand up as far as she could stretch it and go, "Coryon, Coryon, 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 Coryon." This would go on for a while until I would be able to get off the phone or get free from what I was doing and help bring her down a box from the top shelf to help her out. So Sophia didn't last that long, but the company started growing from there. Actually, one of the next employee that we hired was a woman named Marta Verde, who was just looking for some kind of office experience, and she had worked a couple of other jobs. She was an immigrant, or is an immigrant from Mexico, and at that time didn't have that strong English speaking skills. But it turned out that that was one of the best moves I ever made, that she's still working for the company as the purchasing manager. She's gone through every role of purchasing, customer service, operations, doing everything within the company. And she is now bought a house in Grass Valley. She's got kids in college that I've known since they were tiny. And it really set the tone of our company of working hard and also having a good time while we're doing that. And somewhere along that line, we hired you. How long have you worked for Batteries for Less?
7 years, I guess, around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
So one of the things that when I did all the interviewing, I would make sure people knew that a key part of our company was not only being successful online, not only having a lot of business, but also having a good time as we were doing that. And we have a really interesting company culture where we get along, we're honest, we make jokes that sometimes work, sometimes don't. And one of the things I think I did with Mindy was saying, okay, just to get the idea of what we're like, we're not necessarily a construction site, but we have a good time what we're doing. And you know where that line of decency is in most companies? And the things that are okay to say and the things that probably aren't, we are oftentimes well on that side of the line. But it also means that I know everybody here and they know me, and we share a lot of things that are our challenges in life and fun things we do and things that wouldn't necessarily make it into church on Sunday.
I often say, if only we had a webcam out in the whole office. Boy.
We've had ideas about sitcoms based around selling batteries online as well. And Mindy, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the things that you can share about your time with Batteries for Less?
Well, it has been interesting. There's never really a dull moment here. If it's not one of the people working here, it's a customer, and it's always interesting. I have a letter that came back in returns. A gentleman wanted to return his cell phone battery, and the letter reads, "Caution, my wife and I have been dealing with the gastrointestinal flu bug, which has been blamed for several deaths in California."
Oh, dear Lord.
I had the variety, which was much more intense than my wife had. Please sanitize this battery so that we do not have any chance of passing on the bug to anyone else.
Have we sanitized this letter since then?
Actually, I just decided to pass it around and have everybody
Could
here
explain
read
why
it.
we've had some outages this winter. People were touching the gastrointestinal letter.
Yes. When we got it, we would just say, "Here, check this out, read it." And you should have seen the look on everybody's face when they read it. Anyways, it goes on to say, "Please sanitize, get rid of the envelope," and I thought that was really interesting.
Burn it! Burn it!
Instead, I put it on the fridge.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, the other thing we've got on the fridge is, for a while we had a German intern named Mike, and his name is spelled M-E-I-K. We found him through an internship program. And we're a strongly influenced women culture at Batteries for Less.
Yes.
We have a few different single moms that work for the company, and there's a lot of girl power going on. So Mike, who is never that strong or loud of a voice, was quickly called Meek because he was a little intimidated by the strong feminine vibe of Batteries for Less.
That is for sure. And he never complained that his name was now Meek.
Yes.
Yeah.
We introduced him some good American culture. And we saw him buy, what was the car he bought, a BMW or something?
Uh-huh.
He was only in the country for a year, but he was able to find a screaming deal on what had been a completely totaled wreckage BMW that still somehow was restored and worked okay. So we haven't only had women working here. One of the stories that I love was taking a trip to the Google campus. As I mentioned, the company was built around using Google tools and also getting to the top of Google search results. We were one of the early adopters of a tool called Google Analytics. It's a free tool from Google that allows you to see how people are using your website. So where they're coming from, whether they're coming from search engines or from your email marketing, or what keywords they're using, and what pages they use, and what they like and what they don't like. It's a really great tool. So as one of the first places that was using this to improve our website and evolve our website so that we were responding better, Google invited myself, the director of Google AdWords at the time, Charles Zubalaga, and our marketing director, Tim Ing, out to the campus. So we got to meet and mingle with a lot of Googlers and a lot of smart folks and other businesses that were using the tools. And one thing that we did was we went in to meet with a few representatives about our Google AdWords account, and just this guy Charles was one of the loudest, craziest personalities you'd ever want to meet. Would go into a variety of characters and voices, and I remember sitting there at one point as we're going down the list of their suggestions, and pretty much everything they suggested to improve our Google AdWords account we had already either implemented or tried and rejected, or had some kind of combination of that. And we're sitting there with these three Googlers, and Charles, for whatever reason, starts pretending like he is God talking to someone on a bus and saying, "You, ma'am, in the third row with the cell phone, you're not able to make your phone work. And that's why, because I've taken your battery power." And watching as the Googlers were kind of nervously fidgeting in their seat, wondering why these smart cats were good at Google AdWords and we were good at running our website were so freaking wacky. And again, that's something that we've always had a fun time doing there. So we got a tour of the campus with a representative, and as we were about to walk into one of the buildings, a young guy on a little scooter came riding up. He ollied, he jumped out over the curb, kind of as much as you can screech on a scooter, screeched up to a halt in front of the building, and went inside. And didn't lock anything up, because apparently everything at Google's free, the food's free, and it's just the culture there. And we turned to our guide and said, "Oh, there's one thing we really need from you. We spend a lot of money with you for Google advertising, and we've done our best to help you out with this new product, Google Analytics. Can you let us ride some scooters? We really think that would close out this bonding experience we're having here." And I could just see just the three of us tooling around the Google campus on scooters. But alas, alack, we found out from the rep that was she tried. I think she's trained to say yes to everything, and I think she wanted to, but it turned out that wasn't something we were allowed to do.
Yeah.
So how about goofy customers? What's some of the stories you've got from the questions we get asked?
Well, goofy customers. I had a gentleman come in. He was a walk-in. He's a local person. And he had an interesting name, Stormcrow. And so he needed a cell phone battery, and I proceeded to sell him one. And there's always chit-chat, small-town chit-chat. He explained that he was a welder. He had a welding business, and you always be interested in what a customer has to say, and finalized the sale. He walked out, thought that I would never see him again, but no. He walked back in, and he was carrying this huge machete. I mean, it was a very, very big knife. All I could say was, "Wow, Stormcrow, that's a really big machete you got there." He just wanted to share. But, I've never had anybody walk back in with a fairly large weapon before.
And that's the nature of being in a small town. Batteries for Less, as I mentioned, started in Los Angeles in 1999, and as a family-run business, when Andre and I started getting ready to have family and kids, I just didn't want to raise kids in Los Angeles. It's not the place for me. I'm originally from Pennsylvania and a country kid at heart. So we looked all over the place. We developed a formula with our top 10 factors of what was important to us in the community, and we traveled from Brattleboro, Vermont to Ashland, Oregon, to several towns in Northern California, to Julian, California, which is outside of San Diego. And we eventually found Nevada City, Nevada County, Grass Valley in 2003, and worked really hard to find a place that we could move up to and move the business into, had a separate building on our property. Then within a couple of years, we'd grown enough to move into a location in town. But that vibe that is in Nevada County, where, you know, it's something that you walk into a store in Los Angeles to show them your machete, because you honestly just want to show them your machete. You want to share your joy in machetes. It might be taken slightly differently than, yeah. And we definitely get some characters in through our store, and that's one of the reasons we love it, is we've been able to really help out and bond with the local community, and we're a place that people like and refer to. Why is that? Hey, you know what? Let's take a moment. One of the things I wanted to make sure to include in our sponsorship of our own Hangout were we just brought in a new set of power banks. Power banks are a growing trend in the battery market. Essentially, small, compact batteries with USB charging ports to allow you to, there's the USB port. So the battery, the lights there show that it's on, and that's where you can put in any USB charger. This is a battery. What's the capacity on this one?
That one is, it's 6,000 milliamps.
So that's 6 amps. That means that that's going to be more than enough to keep a cell phone or your iPad or any other devices going. And let me see if I've got the details about that.
This will work on any. It's universal. It will work on anything.
Yeah.
The micro USB. We also have.
So they get small too. Look at the size of that one.
These are little ones, which are perfect. They plug right into the phone itself.
That's a iPhone 5.
It works for the iPhone 5
Got
series.
It.
So the iPhone 5S, 5C, 5, any of them it'll work. And I really like this one because it's handy because it just plugs right into the phone. So you don't have to deal with a cord. Whereas with this, we'll plug into any micro USB, but there will be a cord that will go from here to your phone. So
they're nice because anywhere you're on the go, you can make sure you charge up your phone. This one for the iPhone 5 is 2800 mAh, which means you can charge up your phone completely twice with having this. And I've gone to some conferences, I've seen more people with a power bank set out, and that just makes sure that if they're typing on their iPad or on their phone, that it's not going to run out of juice. And I should mention this guy is $29.95
and $39.95.
Yep. So those are the details there. Hey, we sponsored our own Hangout. Well, thanks for joining us today. We only were able to scratch the surface with some of the things that we like about working here and some of the stories that are, at least to me, very endearing and fond reminiscences. Fond reminiscences. So thanks again for joining us for Battery Buzz Live. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about Samsung Galaxy batteries, and there's a lot of Samsung Galaxy phones. Samsung's a big competitor to the iPhone and one of the main manufacturers out there. It's second to Apple for phone manufacturing. So want to just go through and give you some updates on the different kind of batteries and the ways to match those to your phone. So thanks again. See you soon.